Hello, this is Shami and we are playing a little game on Smite. Basically, I am playing Newa or Newa after new rework. As usual, I will always get a pair of boots, a lost artifact, my mana regen for health potion and also 2 mana potion. This is my standard build or standard starting item for all of my magical character. So Niwa, she's basically a pusher. Previously she was a very powerful pusher in the way that she can actually, you know, solo push any lane that she wants, thanks to her fire shard and also her clay soldiers. But ever since her rework, she feels a lot less of a solo pusher. I mean, she's still a pusher, just that she's incapable of pushing solo anymore. Um, so what we have here is basically she still has her invisible miss. She has the clay soldiers as usual, but the number of clay soldiers has been reduced from 5 to 3 at max level. She has shiny metal, which is basically new to her kit. It's an offensive spell which goes in a straight line and passes through or pierces through every single enemy in the line. So it's quite good. I think this is where her pushing capabilities come from. Obviously, when you compare to her previous kit, it is not as good because previously she is capable of solo pushing like what I've said earlier, in a way that her fire shot hits tower really hard and then her clay soldiers can basically tank for her. But this time around, I think due to the number of clay soldiers being lesser, and if I'm not mistaken, the total health of the clay soldiers becoming lesser, she is not as capable as before in solo pushing. In my opinion, I feel like she is more of a support. She has more support capabilities in a way that, as you can see there, the yellow orbs or the gray and yellow orbs above her portrait basically will light up after 5 basic attack. So on the 6th basic attack, what happens is that she will cast a spell and automatically roots her enemies. The problem is it requires a skill shot, so playing as her actually requires a lot of practice. Since her shining metal is also a skill shot, her special basic attack also is a skill shot. This is basically her ultimate, her new ultimate, in a way that it is a global ultimate, which is called the Fire Shard. So what happens is that as she flies up, she gains vision of all of the enemy gods around on the field, and throws the Fire Shard on every single one of them. It has a pretty short cooldown, which is really good, which means that she's capable of using it a lot of times. The problem is the damage is quite low when you compare it to the other ultimates in the game. I guess it's good in a way that they want to, not make her far too OP when compared to the other gods if she is capable of hitting everybody. So, and obviously, it is not as OP as they wanted it to be, or anybody wanted it to be, because the enemy actually knows when the fire shot is gonna hit them, so they can actually use an Aegis of Amulet, or Aegis Pendant, to basically make themselves immune from the damage for a few seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Maximum of 2 seconds, if I'm not mistaken. Finally got my cooldown reduction boot. Despite of the recommended items is for me to get magical penetration boots, I actually prefer cooldown reduction on all of my magical characters, because I find that having lesser cooldown is more effective in the game, because when you have a very low cooldown, you can actually cast your spells more often, so your DPS will basically becomes so much higher. Obviously, getting magical penetration is very important, because as you go into the late game, everybody will have a very high magical defense, so having a high magical penetration to penetrate those magical defenses is important. However, I don't find it to be that useful so far in early game, so I'm going with the cooldown reduction items as my first two main items. Usually I will either get the cooldown reduction boots and then the Chronos Pendant, or I will go for the Breastplate of Valor, depending on what kind of enemies I have. If for example I feel like, okay, there's a lot of physical damage output from the enemy side, then I will go for the Breastplate of Valor. If I feel like, okay, I'm not really in that much of a trouble, like in this match, I will basically go for the Chronos Pendant, because Chronos Pendant does not only give me cooldown reduction, it also gave me a very high mana regen. Yep, this is the part where I actually get the Chronos Pendant. As you can see, my mana regen will increase up to 25 points if I'm not mistaken when I use the Chronos Pendant, so that is really good. I will not basically I will not have much of a mana problem as we go into the late game. Clay soldiers. Yep. This is basically her miss which gives her invisibility, which is it's basically based on her old previous powers in a way that when she casts her miss, previously she can become invis and has an increased movement speed if I'm not mistaken, and the miss basically move around her, but now they have changed it to make the miss basically move forward non-stop, and now it damages enemies over time, so it's quite good. And even though, for example, some people will say, oh, compared to her previous skills, her previous main skill, the previous one would be so much better, because you know, you don't have to exactly move with the miss, you just have to because the miss is basically around you, so you don't have to worry about where the miss is going. But now, because the miss is moving on its own, so you basically have to chase after the miss. But the good thing is, previously everybody will know where she is, because you know, she will always be at the center, so even though she is inside the miss, everybody can still hit her if they wanted to. But now, because she is capable of freely moving inside the mist, it is quite harder for the enemy to basically hit her or skill shot her inside the while she is being in this clay. Okay, so now we'll go into her clay soldiers. Basically her clay soldiers are her tank in a match. Of course, obviously the damage output and the health points of the clay soldiers are not that good, but as you can see there, if you basically if for example you are capable of hitting your clay soldiers with the shining metal, what happens is that the clay soldiers will explode, and once they exploded, they will inflict further damage on the enemy and stun them for a few seconds, or at least 1 second if I'm not mistaken, which is actually very good. If you are able to hit all three of them, then the damage output will really high, in a way that you will be able to one hit, and then if you are lucky. Just in case you are not a Smite player, or you have no idea what Smite, how Smite actually plays, or the game modes in Smite. Basically, this is the arena mode, where you basically fight 5 versus 5 like the normal standard MOBA match, but the difference is that there is no lane. As you can see here, we are just fighting in Coliseum. So what are we supposed to do is we basically have to reduce the points, the enemy points, because both teams actually receive 500 points at start. So what you want to do is that you want to decrease the points, your enemy point to 0 in order for you to win. So as you can see, it's a pretty fast match, and it's very good in a way that if you just want to, you know, have a very fast PvP and, you know, not go through the laning phase of buying items and farming and such, because, you know, as you can see, the gold basically increases really fast in this mode. You also respawn quite fast compared to the standard 5 vs 5. Okay, so we're at 310 and 275 points. As you can see, the points are decreasing over time. So how does it decrease? What happened is that you will notice that the minions are basically running towards the other side of the field. So what they want to do is they want to run to the other side and get into the portal, our side of the portal. So once they actually entered, every single one of those minions will decrease 1 point from our overall points. Other than that, you can also gain points or decrease the enemy points by killing the enemy gods, so which gives a much higher reduction in points, if I'm not mistaken. So what you are supposed to do is you want to stop the minions or the enemy creeps from getting into your side of the portal and pushing your minions into the other side of portals, which is what I'm doing right now. As you can see, I do not play a very aggressive Niwa in this game or in this match because we do not exactly have support or a pusher on our side of the team, unlike the others where they actually have Chang'e, which is a much more capable support and or semi-carry in my opinion. So which is why you actually notice that I'm just staying back and killing all the creeps, because somebody needs to push the enemy creeps back to their side, or we will lose a lot of points. I believe that in this mode, or in an arena mode, it is best to have our Quang or Ra, because you know they are the more standard powerful pusher when compared to Niwa or this Niwa. As you can see, I actually detonate all 3 of my clay soldiers and causes all 3 of the enemy gods to be stunned for a few seconds. One thing I really like about this new Niwa is that previously she was good. She was very good. If you watch any Smite tournament matches, you will see that there was this one team, I forgot what is the name of the team, but this player basically uses Niwa and he solo pushed back towards the back door of the enemy base and pretty much won the game. Thanks to that, even though they were losing, if I'm not mistaken, at the beginning of the early game. So I always feel that the old Niwa was quite imbalanced in that way, because you know this is not just imbalanced, it is also quite bad in a way that, you know, this is a team-based game. You want to work together as a team, you want to have skills or spells or talents that synergizes with the team or your teammates. However, her old kit or her old abilities does not exactly give her that capability, because she doesn't require anybody to help her, or she is incapable of supporting anyone based on her old kit. But now she has some crowd control ability from her special basic attack and from her play soldiers. There, as you can see, I detonated all 3 of them and instant killed the low-key. As I was saying, yeah, she has a very quite a good crowd control ability in the way that she detonates her clay soldiers and stun them, and she gains the ability to root, which is just as good. Um, Even her ultimate now is more of a support base because the damage is not exactly that high. It's actually quite low at the early levels. And why do I see it as a support? Because you know, if for example your teammates are like fighting the enemy gods and the enemy god managed to escape with very low HP and they are unable to chase that enemy, so what I can do is that I can just use my ultimate and instant kill them no matter where they are. So that's good. So some people might say, oh, she's a KSer now, her ultimate is used for KSing. I wouldn't say that it's for KSing because even it scales really poorly. In the early, I think the first level only hits like 150 hit health if I'm not mistaken, so that is actually really low. I think it's one of the weakest ultimate in the game so far, if I'm not mistaken, unless Chang'e is just as weak. And it doesn't exactly stun anyone, so you know, Chang'e's ultimate might be weak, however it stuns. Yeah, as you can see that she actually uses her ultimate and stuns everyone. This is actually a very close match when I actually look back into it. I actually recorded this match first without any commentary, so this is basically just me watching, spectating the whole match again, just to see what actually happened. And this is actually my first time playing as Niwa in a real online match, so I'm not exactly. I wouldn't say I'm exactly that pro with her yet. Overall, I would say that she's a very fun god now. She's challenging to use. She's very situational to use as well. She can carry a match if, for example, in a joust, maybe because you have lesser people there and the space is the size of the lane is so much smaller, so it's easier for the clay soldiers to target someone. Like in this match, as you can see, the clay soldiers, they are trying to get a kill, die. Yep, that's what I meant just earlier. So yeah. Oh no, I cannot exactly remember what I said just now. Oh, okay. She does require a lot of practice. As you can see here, I actually got defensive item because I feel like, okay, I'm dying far too often, so I might as well get some defensive item to make me more, tanky. 77 and 32, so this is basically the this will end really fast most of the time when you play arena mode. And yes, I still hold to my own opinion that her rework makes her so much better compared to her previous form, no matter what people actually said. Oh, so one enemy got. Okay, never mind. So that's all for today. That's the new Niwa. So I hope you actually enjoyed the video and the match. See you guys later. Bye.